So Aaron Rodgers, said to be still at this late hour, waist deep in deliberation and negotiation with the Pittsburgh football team as he decides his next chess move in free agency. And so much for the reporting that he was not going to play. Not only is Rodgers planning on playing, he's got multiple teams that are trying to get his rotting carcass on their roster. Considering how bad Rodgers was with the Jets, it's fascinating that there are multiple teams that are trying to get Aaron Rodgers in a uniform. So based on the conflicting reports in the overnight here, Rodgers is said to be at impasse with the Yinzers. The other team involved, the Giants, there's also some chatter that don't discount the Minnesota Vikings. So what exactly, let's focus in on the black and yellow. So what exactly is the hang-up in the Berg? So as we discuss this, the question, why, we'll cut to the chase, why have Aaron Rodgers' camp and the Steelers been unable to find common ground? So I've got promo code PIGEON and Uncle Sam. And we will combine all of these things together, and we are going to make delicious St. Patty's Day's cookies. Now, I've not had one of those St. Patty's Day's cookies, but there's a big box in the other room. More on that later. And if that doesn't work, we'll put those together and make some pierogies. You know, because you think Pittsburgh, you think pierogies. Why not? All right, so the working theory is that the Yinzers front office has sticker shock. They have now sometimes, I know most people do shopping online these days, but sometimes you'll go to the store, old school, we call it old school. And in the old world, you used to have to go to this place called like malls and whatnot, and you'd have to find stuff in the store, and you couldn't really price around. So the Steelers, it's a case of the best laid plans of mice, men, and NFL executives often go awry. So everyone assumed, now you know what happened when you assume. Everyone assumed the position that Aaron Rodgers was willing to play for peanuts with the Rams, right? The Rams, the story was a couple weeks ago that Matthew Stafford was going to go play for the Giants or the Raiders, and then the Rams were going to sign Aaron Rodgers, and he was going to give the Rams a sweetheart deal because he wanted to play with Sean McVay and Puka Nacua, and that was the way it went. Well, we know Stafford did the old head fake and said, psych, I'm going to actually stay with the Rams, and he took a contract that was a little less than he could have gotten elsewhere. So we know that to be true. So Mike Tomlin, and really just the Steelers front office, I don't know how much Mike Tomlin's involved in this. It's the Steelers front office here, the Rooney family and whatnot. They're trying to find the promo code. They want the promo code the Rams are going to use. They had the promo code. The Rams are going to use that promo code. And at this point, the Steelers are like, hey, didn't you used to sell insurance? Can we get that discount double check? Can we get that? We'd like the discount double check. Now, it sounds like Rodgers is being pig-headed, which is fine. I mean, if you've got multiple teams and you know your value, I don't have a problem with that. You can say he's a douche and all that, but Rodgers is in a position of strength here, and he wants to get the market rate. That's the hypothesis going around right now, and there's no coupon because you're in Western Pennsylvania, and you've got the cool logo on one side of the helmet and all that. And so Rodgers, if we're reading the room properly, believes he's got all of these teams by the footballs, if you will, here. And he's the last veteran quarterback who doesn't 100% blow. Okay, so there's other veteran quarterbacks, but they all have cooties. Now, Rodgers, you could argue, has a lot of stank from being in the cockpit with the Jets. However, it does not appear to be affecting his value at this particular point and his advanced age in the athletic kingdom. All right, now, page 2. So you've got the yin and the yang. The yin and the yang. So the yin and the yang, you got Aaron Rodgers and what's going on between the Steelers and the Giants are lurking in the weeds if Rodgers wants to stay in New Jersey and play more bad football and totally destroy both New York teams or New Jersey teams. So the other part of this is, how do you categorize the latest developments as they relate to Russell Wilson, the former, you could argue, incumbent Steelers quarterback, who is out there in free agency right now. So how does his situation change based on everything that's going on? So think of Mr. Unlimited Russell Wilson like a pigeon. Just bear with me on this. He's an old-fashioned stool pigeon at this particular point. He's playing the waiting game. He has no other options. Russell Wilson's got no other options. He's not going to sign first. He's going to sign last. And he is, in this little exercise, he's a decoy. At least the Steelers are trying to sell Rodgers and his reps that they could always pivot back to Russell Wilson. In fact, we know that to be true because the Steelers leaked to their useful idiots, otherwise known as beat writers, the story, and that's the story they wanted to get out, that Russell Wilson could go back and all that. So Russ is an afterthought, as he should be. As he should be. The way he played, an absolute embarrassment down the stretch for the Steelers. So in this exercise, Russ will be the last one picked. The last one. I know about that when I was in elementary school. I was like the last one picked. And I know what it's like to be overlooked and all that. I've been there. I do the overnight show. And, yeah, so that's where we are. Now, all right, last word. We go quickly to Tampa, the Tampa-St. Pete area, where the Buccaneer pirate ship locked in this week their wide receiver, Chris Godwin, a godlike figure. He was a free agent, and the story from the last couple days was Chris Godwin had plenty of opportunities to leave the state of Florida and go somewhere else and get the riches of Solomon. He decided he did not want the riches of Solomon, although it's hard to say that he got a raw deal, as Godwin got a 3-year contract for $66 million, but $44 million of that Chris Godwin deal is guaranteed. So that's how much he actually got. But he believes that others would not have settled for that. In fact, Godwin, speaking to the microphones and cameras in Tampa, said it boiled down to family and just staying true to who I am, was the quote. He then said that 9 out of 10 people in his position would not have necessarily made this decision, meaning that he's somehow in the top percentile of morally correct people because he took less money, even though he got $44 million guaranteed. Should we have a bake sale for Chris Godwin? All right, so, yeah, the chatter is Godwin could have made an extra $20 million. Now, the speculation is that the New England football team, the Patsies, offered Chris Godwin, I think they're called the Patriots, but the way they played recently, they're back to being the Patsies. So the chatter is the Patriots are the ones that offered Chris Godwin that money. So what do you make of the story now, including some quotes from Chris Godwin saying that he essentially left, he confirmed the story that he left in the neighborhood of $20 million from New England on the table to stay in Tampa. All right, so I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I'm skeptical that this is true, and it seems like there's a lot of semantics involved in this. And so my BS detector started going whoop, 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 just like that when I saw this. You know, methinks the football player is a little too braggadocious. Methinks. Yeah. Like, you'd be the biggest dingleberry in the world to reject an extra $20 million, all things being the same. You're doing the same sport and all that stuff. And it's not like Baker Mayfield is the second coming. He's fine. He's an average NFL quarterback. He's not that great, but he's not terrible. He's just kind of there. All right, so it's not like you're playing with Mahomes or regular season Lamar Jackson or somebody like that. You're playing with Baker Mayfield. He's fine. But you're going to leave $20 million on the table? I mean, you're affecting future generations of the family. So what's going on here? Do I think he's being completely transparent? No, I do not. I don't. It's more likely than not, based on my read of the situation, that there is a cacophony of fine print involved in this. Meaning, Uncle Sam, ergo, let's say it's Florida versus, as Bill Belichick called it, Taxachusetts. And that tax situation. The state income tax in Florida is, I think we can all agree, a really good state income tax, 0%. It's really good. Really, that's what you want, right? You want 0%. That's what they've got, 0%. Massachusetts, or Taxachusetts, as Bill Belichick called it famously, the income tax plus the jock tax is 9%. So right off the top, that's 9%. Now, if you do some Maller math and you futz around with the numbers, let's say that Godwin had an offer of around $80 million in that neighborhood from the Patriots and $66 million from Tampa. And you can futz around with the numbers. We put your taxation in there and all that. And also, you don't know how much of the money from the Patriots was guaranteed. Is it funny money? Is it fake money? There's a lot of filler. It's like hot dogs. They put a lot of filler in there, in these contracts. So Godwin, he has to come back from that devastating ankle injury. So who knows? I mean, he's damaged goods until proven otherwise. And that ended his 2024 season a bit short.